As soon as you Hello, you hardcores out there. How you doing? Rusty from Porky's Corner, biggest gob in sport. Today joined by Kent from Belfast. Women love him, men want to be him. How are you doing, Kent?
About you, Russell? You keeping all right?
Yeah, not bad. I've been out with my dogs this morning. Just had a slice of toast with marmalade, cup of tea with honey, and a shower, and I'm here. I'm ready for you, Kent. What's been happening in boxing?
Where do you want me to start?
Hey, I don't know, Kent. Wherever you want to start, mate, you can start.
Where's the most embarrassing? That's what I meant to say.
Where's the what?
Where's the most embarrassing?
The most embarrassing, I don't really know, to be honest, because I don't know where to start. It's becoming a cringe sport for the dickheads that's in it. Peter Fury said to me a bit back, and I agree with him. I agree with him wholeheartedly. I don't know what to do or what to say. Well, we're going around in circles, aren't we, Ken?
It's an absolute mess. It's been a mess before COVID. We had, the announcement. Yeah, it's going to be announced tomorrow. It's going to be announced tomorrow. It's going to be announced tomorrow. Nothing was announced. That fight wasn't made. Then we've got all this nonsense at the minute with all this Saudi talk. That where's all this Saudi money? Why are these people just going to walk into boxing, throw billions of pounds into boxing and get nothing back from it? I don't understand it. And then we've got this crap with Tyson Fury and Francis Ngannou. It's absolutely ridiculous, Russell. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, yeah.
That honestly, it's just absolute. It's like watching Rocky. It's like watching a Rocky film. It's just absolutely. It's crazy. You literally Francis. If anyone thinks that Francis Ngannou is a threat to Tyson Fury, they just have to go back and watch his loss. One of his losses to Derek Lewis in the UFC,
yeah.
where he was comprehensively outstruck, outboxed. He was petrified. He actually looked like Big Meech in that fight.
He looks like he slaps, doesn't he, with his punches, doesn't he? Inside of his arm. I've studied a couple of his fights last night. He's like a cuffing sort of guy, with that bit.
Yeah, see, that's actually a very good point. And I went back and I watched something a couple of years back, and I watched him do a bit of a session with Teddy Atlas. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't seen that one, but I have seen a couple of his fights last night.
And basically, Teddy didn't work on his punching at all. He just worked on shoulder and hip rotation, rotating his hips, rotating his shoulders, and obviously he's noticed what someone that cuffs like that there. It means they're not generating any force.
Yeah.
They're not rotating their body. I just think it's ridiculous, Russell. I just think it's ridiculous that people that I think we've seen a massive. People aren't happy with it. People aren't happy with it, and you said to me the other night on tax that does it even happen? Like it's 28th of October. What's Fury been doing for 10 months? If he needs that amount of time to get ready for an exhibition bout, it's absolutely ridiculous. Then it's going to be another 10 months after October, maybe a year, if he fights again. If he fights again.
There's certain people that are going around at the moment and they're saying that Usyk, if he fights the bar next month, which is looking likely, and it will get that out of the way, he'll fight next year then Usyk. But he's got two more Mandrishes, hasn't he?
Well, he's got the winner of Zhang, Joe Joyce.
Well,
And
that's no Ergovic was before that, though, isn't it?
And he's got the Hrgovic. He's got the Hrgovic mandatory as well.
So the Usyk, he knows he's got to bar Ergovic for definite, and Joyce Ozang. So his next 3 fights over probably 2.5 years mapped out because he's once every 10 months now, isn't he? But he hasn't fought in a year, has he now?
Yeah, and it's not. If you look at him on BoxRec, you'll see that he's an active fighter. He's been a very active fighter, but all this nonsense. He's not active by choice. He's not active by choice because he is an active fighter, and it's like,
Act up, isn't he?
yeah, yeah, yeah. He's a fighter that wants to be in camp. He's always in good shape. He's got that whole problem with Ukraine as well, with being parked up. It's almost as if Tyson Fury is sitting back waiting on him to age and waiting on him to get an injury or waiting on him for wear and tear. It's that old thing in boxing. It's like Sugar Ray Leonard did it. Sugar Ray Leonard retired for 3.5 years to wait until Hagler, that he seen that Hagler was getting hit more, and then made that comeback and won that big super fight. But as well, Fury isn't exactly a great athlete. You know, he's also a lot of problems with injuries. You know, ankles, knees, hips. He had that elbow injury. You know, get into the last Wilder fight.
Yeah.
He's not exactly, going to be sitting there. It's not like he isn't going to age as well. So I think it's terrible. I think people have just had enough of Tyson Fury now. I think it's just beyond ridiculous.
Do you feel, Kent, that him fighting a guy who's never had a boxing match in his life, while not vacating the WBC strip, is in bad taste? Hey?
Well, it makes it even worse when you're coming on and saying, yeah, well, yeah, so what? Do it then. You know that. I actually don't recognize the WBC as a belt now. I've stopped doing that a long time ago. You know, I had that bit between my teeth with the WBC whenever whenever Oscar Valdez failed the drugs test a couple of years ago before the fight, and they let it happen. You know, they found some stipulation to let it go ahead, and the IBF, I would say at the minute, is probably the most credible because
why is that, Ken? We know why, going back 40 years, don't we?
well
they got busted, didn't they? Now they have to give the books to IRS, don't they, every 12 months?
Yeah, and that was basically at the start
Why
of the
can't they do that
IBF.
with all organisations then, including British Boxing Board and EBU in Europe? Why can't they do that? So they've all got to be kept on the toes.
They're all businesses, so I don't see why not. You know, it's they're a trade business. But going back to the WBC, the WBC have been doing ridiculous things, not just for the last couple of years, but you go back and you look at the whole Roy Jones Rocket Johnny thing, where Roy Jones says, "Yeah, I'm moving up." He moved up, won a world title, then decided, "No, I want that world title again." And Rocket Johnny had just won a vacant belt, and they took it off him, and there was he won a massive lawsuit against him, and could have put them under a lot of years ago and didn't. You know, the WBC have more interim belts and champion belts. I'll tell you one now. Vitaly Klitschko, by word of the WBC, if Vitaly woke up this morning and says, "Right, I want to fight for the WBC title," technically he could.
Due to the rules, because when he retired, he was still a champion. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. He's champion emeritus.
Yeah, but how many champions emeritus can they have? Because we've had Fury as an emeritus, haven't we now? And now him. I mean, how many is
that? It's the emeritus is basically when
they're invented.
Yeah, for Vitaly, because that wasn't the first time that Vitaly retired.
They're all as bad as each other, Ken. I mean, IBF, last year, Dennis got in touch with him. Yeah, we need a belt for Cash Ali. How about an IBF European? What is? Well, I'm like, well, why would you do that? I mean, they ain't even defend a belt. What is all that about? Is it just? Oh,
it's ridiculous. And to be fair to the IBF, the WBO was the first sanctioning body to have a regional European belt. Like people say, yeah, he's the European champion. He's not the European champion. You're not the European champion if you hold an IBF European.
Why don't they do an IBF British title and do it job properly?
Yeah, yeah, it's absolutely like WBO area title. You know, it's absolutely. It's just sanctioning bodies now in boxing. They're just proving that they have absolutely no credibility week by week.
I don't think they have. Looking at the sanctioning body situation, the IBF they're all as bad as each other, aren't they? Really, come on.
They are. It's just
IBF is about best of a bad bunch. And you know what? I quite like that Ed Levine, but just because I've spoke to him and had emails off him when I worked up there, he don't mean to say that if it comes down to it, they won't bump anybody up rankings because a lot of them have got dirt on their hands, haven't they? It's not a governed sport. I look at some world champions nowadays and I think somebody were going on about Ricky Burns the other night to me. Let me just tell you this about Ricky Burns, shall I? Tough kid. Carl Johansson flogged him, didn't he? And Alex Arthur. Oh no, did Alex Arthur beat him? Can't remember. I'll have to check that one. But I know he got beat by Carl Johansson, didn't he?
Yep.
Ricky Burns. Yep. I think the other one was Alex Arthur. I could have got it wrong. I know he got beat a couple of times in his career.
But early on.
I will look if it was Alex Arthur. Because I've been getting a few things wrong lately, you know, because when cameras running, you've got to get it on spot on. I did a video last night and I was like, yeah, Robert McCracken, he trained Fury for one fight, but then I was saying it was Joshua because you're going around in circles.
Yeah.
But McCracken trained Fury, didn't he, for one camp and one fight? I think it was Rogie fight, wasn't it?
I'm not sure about that.
I might have that wrong. I know he trained him. I think it was for his 10th fight. I'm not exactly sure. But I do remember it. I do remember it because I remember him having Cobra McCracken at the same time. And I remember them. McCracken had a lot on his plate at the time. So I don't know what went on there. But I don't think they gelled. You're not going to do after one camp, are you?
To tell me something, did Fury ever train with Flex?
I'm not sure. I think he's done some sparring sessions at there. I'm not sure. I know they've been up there sparring and that. So I give Flex a bit of stick, but he's an expert on nutrition really, and he's got where he's got because of his dad, isn't he? Really, I say, as in being a good trainer. I'm not so sure, really. I think that comes in time, doesn't it? Really. Do you know what?
Yeah.
Who has he got up there? Who's had longevity up there? Who he's trained? Who? Kell Brook. They threw him in with Golovkin, didn't they? And he went.
Then he left. Then he left.
Over before it got started, really. After that, for Kell, wasn't it? At his natural weight, a welterweight. Wasn't it? Over before he got going, because he got all that hard grafting. They jumped in for money, and then that fight's still there. And looking back, they could regret that because when in years to come, he might think to his son, "Do you know what? If I'd have stayed at welterweight, I could have had 10, 15 defenses. He's that good."
Yeah.
And it really cheeses me off. But I don't think they were getting them in position for them big fights. And another thing, I don't think Eddie wanted to lose his deposit on O2, did he?
No.
So when I look at all these fighters nowadays, like getting back to Ricky Burns, Alex Arthur and
it was his 13th fight.
Well, I can understand Carl Johansson because once Carl Johansson used to set about him early doors, they knew that they were in for an hard night because he could whack like a mule.
So massive puncher.
Game plan's hard at window, isn't it? Right. So game plan goes. And Alex Arthur were red hot at one point years ago. Red hot, man. Honestly, you'd have had him going on. Well, he nearly fought De La Hoya, didn't he? Alex Arthur.
What Alex Arthur's problem was, he was running around in his own hype, and he was basically changing trainers every other week. He was with Scott Harrison's father, Peter Harrison. Then he went somewhere else. He was
Where?
training with.
Come here.
He's actually training with Freddie Roach at one time in the wild card.
Yeah.
He was training with Freddie Roach one time in the wild card. He was with absolutely. He had a lot of coaches. He was with Billy Nelson at one stage. Even Wayne McCulloch trained him
With
at
little
one stage,
Billy? Were you with Little Billy at one point? What one of you? I remember that.
and he was with Billy, and then they had this big massive homecoming fight, and it was Edinburgh against Michael Gomez, and at that time, Gomez had losses in his record.
Yeah.
He
Gomez done him,
was-
didn't he?
he was seen that he was coming in as a name that to have in his record. It was a British title fight, and Gomez came in and absolutely smashed him to pieces, like literally punched him through the ring. It was probably the best win of Michael Gomez's career. Before that, as I say, he had that loss to the Kevin Lear and Lesno Bogdanar at the time. Remember for those. He had that WBU belt at the time, and he had losses to Hungarian. Remember the Hungarian southpaw, Lesno Bogdanar. He had Kevin Lear, the fighter from London. He was a really, really good fighter.
Do you know Ricky Burns, Kent, though? Getting back to Ricky Burns, he was a freeweight world champion. Did you rate him?
I thought he was a good fighter. I wouldn't say he was world class.
Right, but he's a freeweight world champion. But the first belt, he got that by email, didn't he? The first one.
Well,
that lightweight one with Brickton. Did he get upgraded on that? Have a look. Sure he did. Trying to bring it off Cuppy and my head.
It was Ronan Martinez. Remember, it was Martinez. He fought Martinez. He beat him. That was a
interim, were it? We're interim now.
No, Martinez was world champion at the time.
Like which
so
belt
he was.
He got by email. They got a belt by email, didn't he?
There was that. I'm not.
We're at the lightweight one. The super started as a super feather, didn't he? Then lightweight. Then light welter. He got a light welter we earned, didn't he, Eddie Hills?
Then there was that win against. He fought Michael Katsidis.
And go through it and show you how to work boxer. Have you got your boxer on?
Well, Michael Katsidis was an interim title light welter.
So I thought he was world champion for that when he defended against him.
It was an interim. Then Nicky Cook, remember the fight against Nicky Cook?
The Nicky Cook one's the one that cost Warren Sky Sports, wasn't it? That's what got him kicked out of Sky Sports, wasn't it? He dug Nicky Cook up from 18 month in Tenerife, bar owner, slotted him in at number 11, WBO. This is in days before social media, am I right?
Yeah.
Right. And I was told by somebody at Sky, so that were the straw that brought the camel's back. Because they were hell on at that fight, they were booing and all sorts, and he were echoed, and he went on defensive. See, nobody's allowed to question him. If you're digging a guy up 18, have a look how long Ricky Burns Nicky Cook, how long were it before he fought the fight before Burns? Then he fought Burns for the title, didn't he? How long were he out ring?
He actually had to be honest with you, Russell, he had a 6-round fight before that. And it was only 2 months before, but he had fought in 2009 against Martinez, where he lost.
He needed to get a cobweb thing off to get back into top 15. So they give him a knockover to get it top.
Yeah,
he'd been over a year on the beach.
It's over 2 years,
and he had a bad back injury as well. So when he jumped in with Burns, as soon as Burns hit him up back, he jumped on floor, didn't he? You remember?
That's right.
That's why they went berserk, didn't they? But in the build-up, Brick Talk were giving it the former champion Nicky Cook. He was gulping air, big sucks in of air, BSI. He was sucking air in like Johnny Nelson when he were going Takam. It's like Holyfield and Foreman rolled into one, and then we had Eddie Hills, going. I've just seen Eric Molina on pads. Joshua's in for a torrid affair. I've got a squeaky bum, Coogs. Listen, same old narrative from the same 12 families. And I'm here with it, so I'm going to go after him like you can never can imagine now, because I am here. This is the end game for us now, Ken. We've got to go full steam ahead after these dogs, because that's what they are. Dogs. Dogs of war, mate. If these were your co-accused in a Crown Court, they'd go Queen's evidence on you. I guarantee it, mate. Guarantee it. Yeah, I mean,
You've a right to feel that way, and I think a lot of people are.
Too right.
You know, at 26-99 to watch Dillian White against Anthony Joshua.
They're not even top 6, mate, in world. No belt on line. They're not top 6. They've been knocked about and they're shot to bits. That's the bottom line. That is the bottom line, mate. Honestly. It's one of them things, isn't it? So, Nicky Cook, 30-3, fought Ricky Burns. Yeah, he had a fight, didn't he? Hang on. 10-40. He had a fight 8 weeks before Ricky Burns. He fought a guy 8-33-2. Right? And then went in for the WBO super featherweight, full belt, Ken. Right? So before that, he was out the ring March 2009, and then he fought Burns 2011 July. So we're looking at what? 2 year, 4 month, and in that 2 year, 4 month period, he fought somebody 8 weeks, Youssef Al Hamidi, before Ricky Burns. So let me say this to you, Gareth A. Davis. Next time you get Frank Warren on Talksport, why don't you ask Frank Warren, Mr. Bricktop? Why don't you ask him how he's got that much influence with the Warren Boxing Organization, the WBO? Well, that's what they all call it, don't they? And that ain't banter. We know what's going on, Frank. Or Bricktop. 2 year, 4 month, right? So it's 2 year, 2 month. 2 year, 2 month out the ring. He fights a guy with 33 losses, 2 draws, and 8 wins. 8 wins out of 43 fights. A knockover, right? And the guy he just fought had just been in with, the guy's career. Look at this here. The guy ended up with 125 losses in his career and 16 wins and 5 draws, right? Oh my God, he fought for another 10 years nearly. Hang on a minute. Let's have a look. I'll tell you how this game works. And this shocked me. I was seeing this after the month up there and I was like, oh my God. Oh my God. The geezer has had unbelievable amount of fights. Right. Here we are. Before Nicky Cook, sorry. How many times he fought in that year? Fighting every week. Oh my God, he's fighting every week, this dude. Oh, he was just getting flogged constantly, mate. How bad is that, mate? How bad is that? Before he fought Nicky Cook, right, Lee Selby had knocked him about 24 days earlier. He lost on points to Lee Selby every round. All right. Every single round he lost to Lee Selby in a 6-rounder. He then fights Nicky Cook, and Nicky Cook goes the distance with him over 6 rounds after 2 years, 2 months out the ring. So let's say Nicky Cook's 2 year, 2 months out the ring. Bricktop. I've got about 17 fights like this I'm going to put out here. Get ready, Bricktop. Oh, Dinted, I'm coming for you. 2 year, 2 months. 2 year, 2 months out of the ring, Nicky Cook. So they bring him back off the Tenerife Beach. He's a bar owner. They bring him back, get him down to 135, 136 and a quarter. Couldn't even make the weight, but it's a move around anyway. And then Nicky Cook goes in for a world title with a WBO in number 11 ranking. My God. Oh my God. Oh my God, eh? And
I've got one for you.
that's why nobody, especially back then, in what was that, 2011, 12 years ago, isn't it? 12 years ago, a couple of days ago. That's why back then, and even now, nobody counts the WBO when you can be 26 months out the ring, come back, fight a guy with all them losses, a bad journeyman, and then you're fighting for a world title and rank number 11. And you tell me boxing's not bent.
I remember.
Time with this, Rocky.
I remember another one. I've got another one for you. I remember this, and it was one of Johnny Nelson's defenses.
Johnny Nelson's another one, isn't it? Johnny Nelson, Enzo Maccarinelli, Ricky Burns, Joe Calzaghe. The list goes on forever. Denis Lebedev, they got him, but that was a WBA. They got him one through email as well, didn't he? Maccarinelli got his by email as well, didn't he? Nathan Cleverly got a world title by email because Jürgen Bremer wasn't allowed to leave his hometown in Germany. So Bricktop definitely knew that he couldn't fly to UK because there's geezers on bail. He went to prison, didn't he? And Bremer. So they said, oh, Nathan Cleverly, you're now a world champion. We're going to email you. No wonder Nathan Cleverly's head's gone and he's giving it the big beak at the moment. No wonder his head had gone, because can you really count getting a world title? It's not even a vacant belt fight like Bellew, is it? You're getting it via email. Like Lennox Lewis got his belt by your email. Fair enough, Bo put it in bin, but Lewis should have fought the next in line for the belt, shouldn't he, really? I don't know. It just leaves a sour taste in my mouth. The more I scratch the surface, the more I'm really going off it, mate. The more I just want to attack it and them in it so we can clean it up. And I've got the resources to do that now. I've got people backing me now. They're saying, you're all right. I'm all right till Christmas 25, me up there. I'm all right. They're going to have me for another few years. And then I'll keep going and going until we clean this up, until this sport gets on its feet. Because these are doing what they want. And the main problem is the media and the two big families, the Hearns and the Warrens. They've been at the big dinner table for years and they're doing what they want. Everybody's scared to death of them except me. Everybody's frightened to death of them except me and a few others. Who's doing the jobs in media with these showers of shit? Who, Kent? Who? If we start talking about the WBO, is anybody going to mention Nicky Cook and how he got slipped in for his world title? Is anybody going to mention that? Because it's all here in fucking black and white, kid. They're in black and white. It's for your eyes only. But nobody wants to say a word, do they? I can go on about them all day. I can dig that lot out now, but I ain't got the time or patience to do it. But it's been going on too long and there were no box. Well, there were box right then, but it weren't like social media 12 years ago, weren't like it is now, were it?
No, and it's not that you're 100% in everything what you said. They don't actually have the knowledge either. You know, you look at Simon Jordan's coming on and he has all these boxing shows and he says all these really nice, elegant words and he pronounces his words well and this and that, but doesn't mean he's actually a boxing person. You know, he's one of these guys, in my opinion, that you never see him in a small hall fight. You only see him for big, massive fights. You know, he's not really a boxing person. So he doesn't have the knowledge, the knowledge that you or myself or Julian or Richard or Terry would have, because they're not boxing people. The very fact that they're not asking the questions, their job depends on it, and they're not actually proper boxing people, Russell.
Listen, mate, go and look at Nathan Cleverly's record. He was a world champion, defending belts against men ranked 100 on BoxRec. Go look, it's all there. I used to scream blue murder about it on Twitter. Of course, some right knackers I did. And you know what the funny thing is? I've got no time for it now, however. Eddie Hills used to hang out my rear end when I used to set about Cleverly's CV on Twitter. Hang out my rear end, didn't you, Eddie? Go look at them tweets. They put people will dig them up if they're good. Go find them if you go back long enough. It's like, hang out my rear end. And I says, hey, you better make sure that when you start getting world champions, that you put them in proper defences. So he used to say, people need to see your tweets. No, they didn't need to see them. People just need to press Nathan Cleverly box rec. Let's see who he's fighting. Let's see who he's ranked, what his ranking is, and let's see who he's been in with. How has he got a world title? It isn't rocket science, is it, Kent? It's not rocket science. You know, I don't rate the WBO. I don't rate it. I don't rate it one bit. It's an organization that's poo. I don't even rate the belt. It's even a shit looking belt. It's the same color as a turd, isn't it? It's not even a nice. It's not even a nice looking belt, though, is it? IBO, WBF's the best looking belt in my opinion. You know the blue WBF. I think that's the best looking belt, even though it don't get the most kudos. That's the best looking belt in my opinion, WBF. But the belt means shite, doesn't it? But
you could go on at end with sanctioned bodies like the WBC. This is an organization that you know, Devin Haney acquired his belt via email. He's another email champion. Devin Haney.
Can you imagine Manchester City getting Champions League via email? We'd all take to the streets, wouldn't we?
Nobody would go.
There'd be mass riots, wouldn't there? Like,
yeah.
Mass riots. So
Yeah.
why do we put up with it? Why do we put up with this, Kent? Why? It's bad, mate.
I think
Kids getting knocked about and that. It's bad enough people not getting paid on time, isn't it? And getting let down with this and that, and people promising. Listen, all you boxers out there, once these managers and promoters start whispering in your ear, hey, take it. Come here. Hang on a second, Ken. Go on, out. Fucking Postman Pat or Amazon man. No, you know, it's getting to the stage in our camp where I don't believe anything. So all you young boxers out there, once your manager, because you've got to have a manager for the first 3 years when you go pro, have a manager and then go like that, swivel, because it's poncing. Anybody taking money off you for just making a few you don't need a manager, but you have to have one by board rules for the first 3 years. So just bide your time for 3 years, then tell them to fuck off. Say, fuck off, punts. That's what you need to do. Or you turn in pro, fuck them off and make your own decisions. Listen to your trainer. Your trainer will know who you should be in with and he'll advise you accordingly. You don't need these poncing bastards in boxing. Fuck them off. Your trainer's your manager, but give him his training fee. You don't need a manager. I know they have to have him for 3 years. Let your trainer manager 3 years and have a deal with him. Fuck these who don't train. They're just poncers coming into the sport who don't want to get a fucking job. I don't give a shit. People used to pull me up about that one all the time. You ask them up there, I'd say about a lot of them. Poncers. Fucking
I agree with you.
You what?
I agree with you. It's
Pouncing,
what do
mate.
you know, you know what, you know your value, you know what tickets you sell.
Just so you know, if you feel uncomfortable and they're making you running around selling tickets, so listen, you're a promoter, promote. I'm a fighter, I fight. I ain't got time to be chasing about and darting about with tickets. We'll get your bird to do it, or get your mates to do it, or your mum. They're busy as well. You're a promoter, so promote. Promote, and then you'll get a ticket, and then you'll get a TV deal. And you'll have more money in pot then to pay them better money. You're a promoter, promote. That's it. I'm a fighter, I fight. Do you know a car mechanic? Right? He don't go running around in day, does he, trying to get people to come to his garage. If he's a good mechanic, people will come to him, won't they? If you're a good promoter, people will watch your shit. If you're no good, they'll not fucking watch, will they? That's a bit harsh, Ken.
You're correct in everything you say. It's you either want to fight or you don't. You sell tickets or you don't. You've either a TV deal or you don't, and it's either yes, I'll take that fight, or I don't want to take that fight, or I want more money for that fight. That's all you need. That's what being a manager. You could do that yourself without giving someone an extra 10% out of your purse, on top of your training fees, on top of your promoters' fees, on top of your British Boxing Board of Control fees. all of that, is all deductible. So if you know the business, if you know the sport, you shouldn't need a manager. You should be able to do it
You
yourself.
need a trainer, that's all you need. Yeah, you're going to have a promoter, aren't you? You need to outlaw managers with this 3-year rule. Get them gone. Jesus, you don't need a manager. You need a trainer and you obviously need a promoter for a platform. Who trusts promoters anyway? They're all hated. People just suck up to them because they want to get out again. They're hated. Once a boxer's career's finished, all promoters, they hate them all. They hate them. And I think the feeling is mutual as they're moving on with their careers with that promoter. Nearly all of them, I think. Who's retired now and has got a good word to say about any promoter? Tell me. They don't send out when they're working with them, do they? But once the career's over, nobody's got a good word to say about them all. Because once your career's over, that promoter's still working while he's 90, isn't he? Your career's done at 34, isn't it? He's got the 50-odd year to go. So look after your money. That's what I say. You want to go on to part 2, Kenty?
Yep.
Cheers, good.